Hi, today I want to talk about how reality TV shows are super real. Now, I'm a little bit of a fan of reality TV shows. At the moment, I'm watching the Bachelorette Australia with my wife. Now, I love these shows for a couple of reasons, but they give us a real insight into the reality of people, but it also applies to business. So hang in with me here for a minute. The first thing I want to talk about is the observation, and then the second thing is a lesson that we can get out of them. Now, the observation is always the same. You get these gorgeous, beautiful people arrive on these shows, and you think, my God, stunning girl, stunning guy, outgoing, smart, whatever. They're kind of the epitome of any sort of thing you're looking for in a person, like a boy genius, all these, a sporting star. But then what you find after the first day, and you think, oh my God, I'm so inadequate. Look at these people. You find the next morning that all of a sudden that stuff's all stripped away. So the social media queen is just like any other girl next door. The big tough guy happens to have had a teary after day one because he had an argument with someone in the house or on the island or whatever it is. And you very quickly notice this veneer disappear. I find that absolutely fascinating. Now, you see this veneer everywhere. The couple that's just been married, or not even just been married, but married a long time, and they're always walking together hand in hand, and they're always giggling at each other, or feeding each other food, or they're wearing matching clothes. They're the ones that I find tend to divorce. You'll find it with employees. The one that was the quiet one doesn't get much recognition, but maybe the quiet one, like in the reality TV show, is the one that over time starts to gain influence and starts to be the big mover and shaker. But as employers, we look at them and say, oh, there's quiet Billy in the corner there, and we'll leave them, forget about them. We're constantly surprising ourselves, I think, and I think I'm surprising myself, that I fall for it. We fall for it every time. We should know that it's not reality, in that what we see is not reality from the person, but the reality is not far from under the surface. So the reality TV shows actually show you that reality getting, or the false reality getting stripped away really quickly, and the real reality appearing. And they accelerate that process, which what makes it fascinating. So yeah, beyond the product placements and the advertisements for shampoo, look beyond that. I know that's why they're built, but there's a really interesting social experiment going on there. Now, number two. So number one is this veneer. Just be aware of it. You're going to fall for it again and again and again. But with a little bit of awareness, perhaps you can be a little bit more attuned to it and work out that it's happening a little bit earlier. Now, the second thing is a lesson. This lesson is a really important one about expectations. I've been married now 28 years, and I've gotten to understand what works and doesn't work in marriage. I've got some sort of authority on it. My parents have been married over 50. I've got a lot of friends in the 25 to 30 years marriage, and a lot of people who haven't gone anywhere near that long. The main reason I think I'm still married goes back to something that happened before we got married. We went to marriage counselling, which you might think that's a bit weird, marriage counselling before you're married. Well, we had this parish priest, because we got married in the church, and the parish priest insisted that all the young couples getting married in the next couple of months attend this group marriage counselling session. So I get dragged along to this session, and we got paired up with a couple who had been married, by coincidence, 28 years. And I asked them the obvious question, hey, what's the secret to a long marriage? And they said, one word. I said, well, okay, what's the word? Expectations. Now, you see, I'll come back to that. You see, what happens with the reality TV shows, and you see them on things like The Bachelorette, people are, they're setting a scene with this most recent one, Ali and Todd. They're walking down this beautiful pathway, and it's dark, and there are little candles burning everywhere. They're under a gorgeous big tree, and under the tree there's this swing going backwards and forwards, and they're sitting on this swing looking into each other's eyes, telling each other how wonderful they are, and talking about how they want the fairy tale to go on. I want to see if this date is the fairy tale of my dreams, and all those types of things. Now, that's the stuff that makes people like me actually, feel a little bit nauseated, because that's not reality. The reality of marriage and of a life together is not the knight in shining armor. It's not oh, you make me laugh all the time. It's not, oh my God, we always have adventures. No, it's the reality of, going back to the couple, things like who's going to take the bins out? Who's going to work when we have kids? Are you prepared to move away from your family? What's going to happen in this situation, that situation, that situation? Now, I know that that makes for super boring TV, but the reality is that if you get those expectations right early on and you keep checking in on them, you've got a better chance of survival. So what happens with expectations, and this has got a very, very important work application, is that we get clouded by the glitz and the glamour on the TV or the management book or something like that. And we think, well, okay, that's how I want it to be. And then we're disappointed. So that's why these 32, 35, 36-year-old gorgeous people who are gorgeous, they're funny, they're sympathetic, they're empathetic, they're just out and out nice people, are still single because their expectations are so high. And you can't expect those expectations to be reality because you know you're going to be disappointed. Happens also in work. We expect in our work, we do our strategy sessions and we expect this and that and the other to happen, but they fail us. We expect staff to do all these wonderful things, but it doesn't happen. We feel like they've failed us. We expect this of these employees. We expect this of the consumer. The consumer should buy this, and it doesn't happen because our expectations are set at a level or at a place, not necessarily a level, that is not reality. It's what we think it should be. It's what we wish it to be. It's what we want it to be with all of our hearts, but it doesn't happen because that's not the reality. So again, the expectation, kind of like going back to this veneer that we talked about earlier, is something that you've got to check in on early. And you've got to say, like, is this expectation real? Can I have the knight in shining armor? How am I going to be with this person when we're not laughing and giggling all the time? The same thing happens when we're applying for a job. I live just outside of Sydney, and the whole thing when I was younger was go to Sydney, go to the big lights. So you go to the big city for the big job in the big firm, and you think, oh my God, and you've got these expectations of board meetings in a suit and tie, or this stupid stuff that goes through your head when you're like 23 or 25 or 30. And then the reality is very different to that. You get stuck in a cubicle and not many people dress up, and all you do is you find that you're spending a lot of time commuting and spending a lot of money for food in a city that's super expensive. Now that's fine. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but the expectation is here and the reality is somewhere completely different. It's not higher or lower, it's just different. And we have to check ourselves and say, okay, is this expectation real? How will I feel if it's somewhere else or somewhere here? You can't imagine all of those scenarios, but one thing I can tell you for certain, that it is not going to be what you expected. So, reality TV, I find it super, super real. It gives us great lessons in life, and the biggest one is about expectations. Don't judge me. I like them.